नमस्कार. अलुमनाय आमगेल अभिमान कार्यक्रमाक तुमक सगळ्यांके स्वागत करता. आज आमगेलो टश्या अलुमनायक हांव एक 2012 अदकून पळयला आनी प्रतीपन तागेला उलयतना एक तागेलो एक्सपिरियन्स ताण शेअर करतना इन्स्टन्स सांगतना एक चंद काणी आसता ताजे म्हाकशी. सो त्या काणी पुरो आयकतची तागेला आज आमी भासाभास करूया. आज आमगेलो आसा आमगेलो अलुमनाय गौरव शेणय. गौरवानं पेसेटांतू इंजिनियरिंग कोरनू इंटेलांतू काम कोरनू मागिरी पोर्टलँड स्टेट युनिवर्सिटींतू MS in इलेक्ट्रिकल अँड कंप्युटर इंजिनियरिंग कोरनू आतां कॉलकॉमांतू सिनियर इंजिनियर जावन काम करता आसा. गौरव तुका ह्या कार्यक्रमाक हांव स्वागत करता. हांव आज सांगला बरीची मस्त काणी आसा गौरवा लागीं म्हूण सांगला. तातूंत म्हगेल्या एक फेवरेट स्टोरी आनी आमकां पुरा मस्त इन्स्पायर केलेली एक काणी म्हळ्यार ताण इंजिनियरिंगा आसतना पेसेटांतू एक 7 सेमिस्टरांतू एक कंपनी इंटर्नशिपा रिक्रूट करूं आयल्या आनी त्या इंटर्नशिपा रिक्रुटमेंटांतू पुरा जनाला पशी एक बेस्ट इंटरव्यू दिवन जाल्यार समेत ताका त्या कंपनींतू इंटर्नशीप मेळ्ळी. सो ताका कशें नाका म्हणू सांगता म्हूण हांव गौरवाला निमून घेता.
वय सानाका सो त्या ॲक्च्युली कसं जालें म्हळ्यार 7th सेमिस्टरांत आसतना आमकां प्लेसमेंट ऑफिसराला मेल आयल्या इंटेल इज गोइंग टू विजीट द कॅम्पस टू हायर फॉर इंटर्नशिप्स म्हणून. सो तशी आमी पुरा जाणांना आमगेले रेझ्युमे पेटयले म्हळ्यार पुरा M.Tech प्लस B.Tech स्टुडंट्स जाता न्ही BE स्टुडंट्स जाता न्ही इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स आनी कम्युनिकेशन बॅच जाता न्ही रेझ्युमे पेटयले. सो तशी रेझ्युमे पेटून मागीर ऑलमोस्ट एक वार जातरी अराउंड 7 to 10 days जातरी तांणी एक मेल पेटयला 1 day before the interview saying that at 9 p.m. in the night, I still remember 9 p.m. in the night म्हाका मेल आयला congratulations, you have been shortlisted for the final rounds of interview and the interviews are going to be tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. as far as I remember. सो तेन्ना कसं जालें म्हळ्यार म्हाका ऑलमोस्ट एक 8 to 9 rounds of interview आशिल्ले. So all of them were technical. All seven rounds of interview were technical. The 7 rounds of interview antu maka they asked me each and everything about whatever I've studied in my engineering, all of the electronics and communication core subjects, plus some basic coding questions in Ingela, which is totally not related to electronics and communication. That's what I thought then. सो तशी जावन म्हाका म्हगेले 8 राउंड्स ऑफ इंटरव्यू जाल्ले आनी वरला आमकां पुराय कितले एक 2 राउंड्स ऑफ इंटरव्यू आशिल्ले. त्या 2 राउंड्स ऑफ इंटरव्यू जातरी पुरो जाणां इंटरव्यू जातरी मागीर लास्ट हाका HR न्हू भायर अनाउन्समेंट केला. सो दीज आर द लिस्ट ऑफ कैंडिडेट्स that were selected for the internship, and they also mentioned that they had come to hire just for an internships. So they announced about 10 names who were qualified for the internship position. So the dan nawantu miguel naw naashila te magiri makka shock jalla te 8 rounds of interview asunu makka kasana internship offer मेळ्ळी. सो तेन्ना HR नेवनू म्हणलें that's all, thank you म्हणलें. मागीर सडन जावन ती भितर तुला भायर म्हणू that's not all, let us all congratulate Gaurav as he got the permanent job offer म्हणून आयलें. So I did not even expect that. They came for an internship hiring and then I got a permanent job offer, which is really amazing. In fact, I did not get an internship offer.
That's
So
really
later I sent them an email saying that I already have a full-time offer. Can you provide me an internship if possible? And they agreed to provide me an internship. So which is kind of a nice experience.
तू इंटर्नशिप इंटेला करून मागीर थंय जॉब सबमीट केला. सो इंटेला तुगेलो एक्सपिरियन्स कशें आशिल्लें तुगेलें काम करतना तुगेलें मास्टर्सा फुडें?
वय सो इंटेला काम करतना म्हाका ॲक्च्युली मस्त एक्सपोजर मेळ्ळा द सेमीकंडक्टर मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग प्रोसेस, right from the design to the manufacturing, from front to the back end until fabrication. I had really good exposure. First few years I started with design for test, which is basically trying to add some hardware to test the chip once it comes out of fabrication to see if things are working fine or not. So I worked on that for a couple of years. And then I think 1 year I worked on that, and after that I worked on some design verification. Basically you try to figure out if the design is working according to the specifications or not. That is design verification. And then eventually I started interacting with the manufacturing people, the people who work in manufacturing at Intel. So basically I got an end-to-end exposure from front end to the back end in the entire semiconductor fabrication process, semiconductor design as well as fabrication process. So it was a really nice experience, and it kind of opened my eyes to a lot of possibilities outside in the semiconductor industry. And I had no idea about the semiconductor industry at all.
तूं त्या इंटेलांदू काम करतरी मागीर मास्टर्सा चमकलेलो एब्रॉडाक तूं मास्टर्सा वच का म्हूण प्लान तुका इंजिनियरींग जातरी आशिल्ल की काम करतरी वच का एक ब्रेक घेऊ का म्हणू तूं फस्ट दुखून प्लान केलेला
Actually, Makka Megale graduation jattari, Mak just job korka manu ashile. Mak masters course ka idea chin ashile. Actually, I never even thought of doing my masters. But then eventually, as I started working at Intel, I started getting a lot of exposure about the semiconductor fabrication process, right? And also, I noticed that most of my managers at Intel, they already had a master's degree from US universities. So basically, they worked there for about like 7, 8 years, and then they kind of move back to India. And the amount of knowledge that they had, I was kind of amazed with the amount of knowledge that they possessed. So that was one of the reasons what kind of motivated me to do my masters. So basically, there are actually multiple reasons that made me do my masters. One of them being basically I watched this movie called The Internship, where it's a story about two people who lost their jobs. Tangal kam tulan fire so they lost their jobs, and then they were looking for jobs, and they're not from a technical background, they're purely non-IT. So and then they kind of interviewed, got an internship opportunity, and then they converted to a full-time opportunity. So that was something that very inspired me. It's like what it taught me was you shouldn't be having any boundaries, whether it's IT or non-IT. You shouldn't be having any boundaries at all. So that was another reason that motivated me to start my masters. And yeah, and besides, it's Silicon Valley, so that's where the semiconductor boom started, right? The California, Silicon Valley, the Bay Area. So that's another reason. And also, I felt like I really need to take a break from work. I need to focus on what I really want to do in my life. So yeah, I thought doing my masters in electrical and computer engineering would be giving me a boost in my career.
सो थंय देखून तूं पोर्टलँड स्टेट युनिवर्सिटीन तूं मास्टर्स केला सो तुगेला मास्टर्सा एक्सपिरियन्स कशें तें
Yeah. So I would like to add to that previous question. The previous question, another question was, why did I do my masters after taking a break from college, right? So basically, I worked for 3 years, and then I did my masters. The reason being, it kind of helps you focus on what you really want to do in your life, right? So if you work for about 2, 3 years, you kind of get that corporate exposure, and you would be much more confident. तुमको त्या मस्त confidence येता to really find out what you want to do in your career. So that's why I decided 3 years gap के 3 years working in the semiconductor industry, then I'll do my masters, not directly after I graduated from my undergrad. Yeah.
ओके तुगेला मास्टर्सा एक्सपिरियन्सा विशयी सांगची जाल्यार
हां. सो मेल मास्टर्स एक्सपिरियन्स कशें आशिल्लें म्हणल्यार, सो इनिशियली म्हाका MS कोर्स वच फुडें हांव लेखिल्लें MS कोर्स म्हणून मस्त इजी आसतलें, कसलें कश्ट आसना, USA वतस तशीची की आराम आसा ते लायफ स्टायल म्हणून लेखिल्लें. And then later I realized that it's not as they portray in the movies, where they keep saying that they people keep hanging out after college, they don't really do much, they just go on road trips. But unfortunately that's not how it is. Masters in the US is kind of really difficult, especially because there are a lot of challenges. एक challenge कसा म्हणणारी going to a new country, right? A completely different education system, and obviously the weather. सो ते मस्त थंडी असता युजली मोस्ट ऑफ द स्टेट्स अंतू मागिरी एम एस अंतू अनेक एक्सपीरियन्स म्हणारी इंडिया अंतू युजली मेल अंडरग्राड एटलीस्ट so if you copy the assignments that's not a big deal. I mean, in case if you have some questions that you didn't figure out, you can ask your classmates, hey, tell me the answer to this. But ते तशी नाही, ते MS करताना you are not allowed to copy the assignments, and in case if they find you guilty for copying the assignments, they're going to send you to the court. So there's a court in the college in every university, and they take plagiarism very, very seriously. So you're not supposed to copy assignments at all. आणि अनेक कसं म्हणारी आम्हाला सिनियर निमगेला बिफोर जॉइनिंग द कॉलेज निमगेला एम एस ಅಂತೂ कितलं असता usually classes every week. So ताण म्हणलं म्हाका just 8 hours of classes every week मग. So like 8 hours of classes चलर गमत ना वरल टाइम पर फ्री असता बोयत तेच पर लेक केला जल्लारी ते कशी कशी जाता म्हणारी आता तुका प्रोफेसर्स तुका ಕೆಲವು ಟಾಪಿಕ್ಸ್ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ सांगून दिता तूची त्या डिग कोण 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 तुका असाइनमेंट सॉल्व करका असाइनमेंट्स पर स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड असना and every संडे नाईट तुका असाइनमेंट सबमिशन्स असता सो मस्त चॅलेंजेस असता आणि त्या असाइनमेंट्स इझी असना सो चिके थिंक करून आन्सर करका
So
and
class
even
8
if you're
hours
1 minute
असल्यारी
late
वरलेल टाइम काम दिवन असतात then.
वय वय वरला टाइम काम असता वय एक्झॅक्टली प्लस if you submit your assignment 1 minute late they're not going to accept it. They consider it as a zero. So that is something different which kind of amused me. And yeah, अनेक challenge कसं म्हणाली cooking. Usually आम्ही parents our trap India तो I mean at least parents our trap अंतलरी आमक Indian तो cooks असं. You can hire a cook. You can live with your friends and then hire a cook, and he can come and cook for you. त्याला हंग तशी नाही. You cannot afford to have a cook. It's very very expensive. सो रांदप शिकशिला म्हाका रांदप कसं करचें म्हूण गोत नाशिल्लें हांगा येयसर शिकला रांदप म्हाका कुडीवर किचनाक वता नाशिल्लो हांव सो त्या एक मागीर अनेक कसं म्हणल्यार डिफरंट एज्युकेशन सिस्टम मस्त कंप्लिटली डिफरंट आसा सो दे फोकस मोर ऑन प्रॅक्टिकल लर्निंग and you also have a lot of peer competition, right? So basically you compete at a global level. This is not what do you say within the country. There are people from different countries and they're kind of having a different background with different interests, right? And they're very very innovative. And initially when I started my masters म्हाका दिसताशिल्लें म्हाका कसलेंय गोत ना म्हण दिसताशिल्लें हांव इंजिनियरींग तू चड शिकिल्ला म्हूण म्हाका फिलींग येताशिल्लें जाल्यार at the end of the masters I really felt that it was worth it. I really liked it. That struggle was totally worth it.
ओके आता कशी आमी तुगेल्या कॉलेजा लायफा विशयी उलयता आसती तूं तुगेल्या पेसेट लायफा एक दोन पण मेन्शन केला सो तुगेल्या पेसेट इंजिनियरिंग लायफा कॉलेज एक्सपिरियन्स कशें आशिल्ला
So my PESIT college. So usually then getting into PESIT was a big thing. It was very difficult. I had a 3-digit rank in CET. Makka my CET rank 609 ashila. Jallari makka PESIT antu electronics and communication mainly. Titli Sulabari. So makka last round of CET, fourth round of CET into makka PESIT college मिळाला. ताज्या पश पुढे SJC मैसूर अंतू एक महिने क्लासेस चमकलो. So fourth round of CET into PESIT आयलो. आणि ते कशें आशिल्लें म्हणारी ते मस्त कॉम्पिटिशन आशिल्लें एक्चुअली सो युजली हांव म्हगेले PU पर आसतना पियर प्रेशर तशें पळय कांय नाशिल्लें यू लर्न फॉर युअर ओन इंट्रस्ट वेरएज हियर देर इज अ लॉट ऑफ पियर प्रेशर and you actually have relative grading. It wasn't absolute grading. So relative grading अंतू मस्त competition असता आणि most of the students in my class were actually they had taken year drop after 12th specifically to prepare for IIT, IIT JEE or AIEEE at that time. I think it's I don't know what the system is right now, but I think it's a single exam for IIT and AIEEE for NITs. So yeah, must competition ashila and people from all over the country, like from the northern India, the northern part of India, southern part of India, everywhere actually jano. So it kind of opened my eyes to it changed my way of thinking. And exams pura mast kasht astashila. सो तात निमित्त म्हगे थिंकिंग capabilities पुरे चेंज जाला. It was an eye opener basically. So तात
बेस्ट
निमित्त
एक्सपिरियन्स.
येस. सो तात निमित्त म्हाका actually मस्त हेल्प जाला म्हज्या करियरान तू. It was one of the factors that helped me advance more in my career actually.
ओके, दॅट्स रिअली नाईस. तू मास्टर्स जत करतना तू US आवत तरी तवळ सांगले असाइनमेंटात जो खंयचे एक तुका टायम मारे केन्नाय जो दिसिलस की कसं ना खाव इंटेल सोण हांगा इलो म्हूण सांगून.
Wait, actually, that experience as how actually I don't come from a financially well-off background. I come from a middle-class family. So, and anyone from a middle-class family, when they're sending their kids to the US, the tuition fees itself is a lot, right? And then I had no other option. I didn't want to withdraw the entire loan. So the other option was to work part-time on campus. सो म्हाका एक पार्ट टायम जॉब मेळ्ळेलें ऑन कॅम्पसान तूं. सो म्हाका पार्किंग गराजान तूं कॅशियर जावन जॉब मेळ्ळेलें. तेन्ना म्हाका विंटर टायमान तूं म्हाका सकाळी युजली 5:30 वचून न्हू पार्किंग गराजाक ओपन कोर न्हू कॅश प्रे सेटल कोरका. कॅश प्रे ओपन कोर न्हू मागीर कस्टमर्सां पुरो उलोवका. आनी त्या कियोस्क कशें आशिल्लें म्हळ्यार विंटरान तूं त्या हीट प्रसंग बरजत नाशिल्लें, मस्त थंडी आशिल्लें. आणि एस्पेशली पार्किंग लॉट्स पळय बेजमेंटान आसता, बेजमेंटान आनीक थंडी आसता. सो म्हाका तेन्ना दिशिल्लें ह्या पळय जावक आशिल्लें, म्हाका एक लायक काम आशिल्लें इंडियान तूं त्या पुरो सोडून हांगा येयला असल काम करता सर. सो हें जावक आशिल्लें म्हाका म्हूण दिसलें तेन्ना.
बट डिड यू क्विट द जॉब
बट
और
ॲट
यू
द
कंटिन्यूड?
एंड yeah, so but at the end it was totally worth it and I really enjoyed that experience.
ओके, तर तुगेला फर्स्ट इयर मास्टर्सान तू दवा.
Yes, that's right.
ओके,
Yeah.
तुगेला आता सेकंड इयर मास्टर्स करतना नॉर्मली करतना एक खंयचे कंपनीन तू इंटर्नशिप करता ती. बट तू इंटर्नशिप करतना तीन विंगड विंगड कंपनीन तू इंटर्नशिप केला. सो तर कसं नाही तू तिनी कंपनीन तू इंटर्नशिप करचा ऑप्ट केला आणि त्या खंयच्या कंपनीन तू इंटर्नशिप केला म्हणून सांग.
Okay. So म्हाका फर्स्ट internship मेळ्ळेलें NXP Semiconductors तूं. So NXP Semiconductors basically makes automotive chips. And one of the reasons why I like to work there is that I heard that they have a nice, really nice design team, right? So I wanted to try. Basically, earlier I was doing a lot of things: DFT, design verification, which is a part of the semiconductor manufacturing process, design to manufacturing. सो म्हाका विंगड विंगड ट्राय करपा म्हण इश्ट आशिल्लें. तशी हांव सेमिकंडक्टर डिझायन ट्राय केला फर्स्ट. दॅट इज एट NXP सेमिकंडक्टर्स. ते एक ऑलमोस्ट 3 to 3.5 months इंटर्नशिप केल्या, ट्राय केल्या. सो म्हाका आय डिडंट रियली फेल्ट दॅट इज वेर आय वॉन्ट टू स्पेंड मोस्ट ऑफ माय करियर. सो मागीर वापस इंटर्नशिप अप्लाय केला विंगड कंपनीसाक. सो दे डीड ऑफर मी, NXP did offer me an extension for 3 more months, but then I preferred to try a different role. सो नेक्स्ट सिरियस लॉजिक म्हण कंपनीन तूं इंटरव्यू दिला. सो मागीर ते इंटर्नशिप स्टार्ट केला. देर आय वॉज मोस्टली डुईंग डिझायन व्हेरिफिकेशन. आय ट्रायड टू सी इफ डिझायन व्हेरिफिकेशन इज समथिंग दॅट आय रियली लायक टू डू अँड आय रियली लायक्ड इट. But it was mostly mixed signal. I didn't really like mixed signal. I like verification, but I didn't like mixed signal. So then again, I decided to apply for another internship. And then that's when I interviewed for AMD and then I got AMD. So basically, I was working on some GPUs. And I really like gaming at that time, and GPU is something that I really wanted to work on. So I was doing design verification of GPUs. So then, so basically, I wanted to try different things and to figure out if I really like this role or not. So Magiri, yes, I did like design verification, and I found out my interest.
ओके, दॅट इज रिअली नाईस. आता तू कॉलकॉमान तू सिनियर इंजिनियर जावन काम करता आसा. आता तुगेला इंटेल प्लेसमेंट जालेला तुगेला कॉलेजा कॅम्पस रिक्रुटमेंटा दुखून तशीची थंय MS तू कसं नाही तसल ऑपॉर्च्युनिटी आशिल की हाव डीड यू एंड अप इन गेटिंग अ जॉब एट कॉलकॉम?
So basically, in US antu, most of the universities they don't really have campus placement. Uh, the best thing that you can have is like a career fair in which just 2 or 3 companies come and then have a look at your resume, but they don't really offer you an internship role. In the US, it's basically you apply to jobs through LinkedIn or through the company portal, right? Those are the only two ways. And if the HRs like your resume, they will ping you on LinkedIn to ask if you're really interested to interview for the role. So ಅವಕಾಶ apply our company portal or apply केलेला. So they found my resume interesting and they kind of interviewed me. So interview process कशी आशिल्ली म्हळ्यार म्हाका 2 rounds of phone screen आशिल्ले. So first round of phone screen म्हाका just basic electronics and electrical and computer knowledge check करू आशिल्लें. Second round coding round आशिल्लें. Then they told me that next round is going to be a final round. So I was like, okay, tini round interview म्हणलें. Jallari tani final round म्हणून 5 hours of interview schedule केला. एक सगळं दिवस. So then oh, USAच्या interview process मस्त कष्ट आसा म्हणून लेखलें. But 5 rounds of technical आशिल्ले एक सगळे दिवस सकाळी कितले एक almost 1 to 6 or 7 o'clock जाल्ले. आणि extend समेत केल्लें ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ time. They grilled me technically and somehow I did well. And yeah, I got the job.
ओके. गौरव, तुगेला कॉलकॉमाच्या इवन तुगेला पेसेट आसतना यू वॉन्टेड टू जॉइन कॉलकॉम म्हणून सांगिला, सो त्या एक्सपिरियन्स सांगता.
Wait, so that actually कसं झालं म्हणारी Qualcomm actually came to Passet for campus placements, and I did apply for the job, and then I gave the first return round, and then the next step was the interviews. So return round देऊन वापस मंगळूर आयलो, thinking that there was no way for me to get selected because the paper मस्त कष्ट आशिल्लें. सो हांव मंगळूर आयलो, मागीर सडन जावन म्हाका एक ऑलमोस्ट 50-60 मिस्ड कॉल्स आयले म्हाजे फ्रेंड्स जाला, तूं सिलेक्ट जाला फायनल राउंड ऑफ इंटरव्यूक, आनी 4 जाण मात सिलेक्ट जालो आउट ऑफ लायक 250 स्टुडंट्स. आय थिंक 4 जाण मात सिलेक्ट जाला फायनल राउंड ऑफ इंटरव्यूक. मागीर 50-60 मिस्ड कॉल्स आयचा, फोन करून गेलो, कसला जाला इतले जाण कसला म्हाका कॉल करता सची म्हणून लेखलें. तांणी कसा म्हणाला तूं सिलेक्ट जाला, तूं यो हांगा, यू हॅव टू बी हियर बाय 4 o'clock इन द इवनिंग. सो तेन्ना ऑलरेडी 11 o'clock की 10:30 जालें सकाळी. सो मागीर म्हणटाना कशी कोणी करून एक फ्लायट बूक केला. म्हाका एक्चुअली हांव येदे ते फ्लायटार ट्रॅव्हल केलेलो ना, सो 12 o'clock फ्लायट बूक केलें. बट देन आय रीच द एअरपोर्ट एट 11:45 or 11:50. म्हाका गोत नाशिल्लें ते बोर्डिंग टायम तशें पुरो आसा म्हणून गोत नाशिल्लें. आय हॅव नेवर ट्रॅव्हल्ड बाय फ्लायट. सो फ्लायट मिस जाल्यार interview opportunity गेल्ले. So then later Intel was the company that came first to the, I mean, it was the first time the Intel came to Passet for hiring interns, and then yeah, I was the only one to get a full-time job offer there, which is really nice. And now I'm back to the same company where I missed the interview when
And
I was
you're
at
at the
Passet.
senior position.
Yes, yes, and at a senior position, which is a much better position than what I used to get there.
ओके. सो आता तू कॉलकॉमान काम करतास आणि तू इंटेलांत एक 3 वर्स काम केला, तर 2000 डिफरन्स कसं दिसता तुका, कशी दिसता थंय काम करचें?
हां. So according to me कशें म्हळ्यार Qualcomm एक मस्त engineering focused company actually. So they really work on cutting edge technologies, which is what I like, and they're really passionate about problem solving. Problem solving akka mast focus ittachi. So that's what keeps me going to work every day. So the Intel way of doing things was kind of different, and they were mostly depending on what was there earlier, right? Not much of innovation, at least the kind of work that I worked on. But yeah, that was also a good eye opener for me. I wouldn't say it was bad; it was really nice. I wouldn't have been able to end up in Qualcomm if I didn't have the Intel work experience, right? So yeah, the Intel way of doing things is kind of different, but yeah, I like both the ways.
ओके. तू मास्टर्स यू एस आशिल्ल 2 वर्सां, तदनंतर कॉलकॉमाक काम करतना यू एस आसा. थंयचे कल्चर तुका एडजस्ट जावचें कशें जाता, थंयचे एक्सपिरियन्स कशें आसा?
US culture kashas mari usually in general people really value time here a lot, their personal time, and they take the whole weekends for themselves. They don't like to do any work on weekends, and usually people are really social here in the US, and they expect you to have some kind of a skill in addition to what you do in your work life, right? So that was something that kind of amazed me. I was trying to find out what my social skill is. And yeah, I realized that I like to go on hikes, which is kind of a good disconnect from my work. Um, yeah, that's totally different than what I expected.
ओके तू खंय हायक वची इंटरेस्ट आसा म्हणल्यार खंय पुरा चमकला तू हायकिंगाक
So hiking, basically US Antu, there are two or three states which is called Pacific Northwest. Pacific Northwest is a collection of two or three states: Idaho, Washington, and Oregon. Right. So these three states are very beautiful states in the US, on the West Coast specifically. And in the fall, you see fall colors, and there are plenty of national parks in these two states. I mean, these three states, but I've been to only two of them. I've been to Washington State, Oregon, and in the south, I've been to Texas, also Ohio in the Midwest, and then Michigan, and also, yeah, California.
आणि कसं नाही एक गोल दवन घेतला की ह्या विशयार आनी तुका सिन्स हायकिंग इज युअर हॉबी सो एनी स्पेसिफिक गोल्स टू अचीव इन नियर फ्युचर
So, Michael, yeah, what's a goal, Malari? I really want to travel the top 20 national parks in the US.
That's
National parks are really, really beautiful. They kind of maintain it really well here. And yeah, it's a good disconnect from all your work. When you work hard from on Mondays to Fridays, you feel like going to the nature and kind of disconnecting from work. And you really enjoy the nature.
ओके आता आमी पुरा उल्लो चिदून एक सन ब्रेक घेवन तुगेला एक लायफांत एक सान झलक पळोवन येवया तुगेला इतलताय केलेल्या हायकिंग्साचे पुरा एक फोटोस सो ते आमी डिस्प्ले करतना तूं त्या प्लेसा बगे सांग येता खंयची खंयची प्लेस खंय चमकला म्हूण सांगून
Okay. So this was one of the beachside hikes in Michigan. So there was a beach, and beside that there was a forest, right? And it had a beautiful trail to the forest.
ओके
So this is in basically this is in Upper Peninsula, and this is also this waterfall here is also in Upper Peninsula. Upper Peninsula is basically the northern part of Michigan, right? It's like an island which is surrounded by water on all sides, and the only way to go there is through a beach from Michigan. And they call it they don't call it Upper Michigan, they call it Upper Peninsula.
ओके
So this photo here is a picture in the Olympic National Park. This is one of the most beautiful national parks in Washington, and this place is called Hurricane Ridge. I don't know why they call it as Hurricane Ridge, but it is very very scenic. As you can see in the background, there are beautiful snowy mountains. Yeah, this was also the beachside hike in Michigan. If you look at the water in the background, it's so clear, so blue, and it was amazing. If it was kind of breathtaking, actually. This is one of my favorite pictures. So I've never seen a cactus in my life. The only place where I saw cactuses was in cartoons or animes. So this is a real live cactus, and this is in San Diego. The name of the national park is called Joshua Tree National Park, and they have a cactus garden there. This is also one of the nice places to view a sunset. Name of this place is called Keys Viewpoint. This is also in Joshua Tree National Park. The sunsets are really amazing, and it's very very colorful. Yeah, so this is actually the beach in San Diego. It's called La Jolla Cove. A really nice beach, and people do a lot of kayaking there. The water is really cold. Yeah, this is a picture of cherry blossoms. I've never seen cherry blossoms other than in anime, in Japanese anime. So this is really nice. This is one of the rocks in Joshua National Park. The name of this rock is called Skull Rock. It really looks like a skull. Yeah, this is one of the national parks in Oregon. It's called the Smith Rock National Park. As you can see, it's a rocky mountain, and you see the rainbow in the background. Very very beautiful. Yep, that's pretty much.
Okay, that's really nice. Okay. आता आम्ही तुगेला इंटेलाच्या युएसआच्या कॉलेजाचेर उलयली ती आता विश्व कोंकणी केंद्र आवटू तुगेला एक्सपिरियन्स सांगची जाल्यार कसं सांगचा इश्ट पावता.
Vishwa Konkani camp appoda, I was actually an introvert. I never really talking much in public. I never really used to talk to a lot of people. It kind of changed me in a positive way. Um, Vishwa Konkani camps especially must push kela to get out of the comfort zone, and it's not something. And the trainings there at WKC are really world class. They're not more on the placements part of your career. They're very beneficial for your entire career. As you grow in your career, you will realize when you look back to see think that if you look back, let's say, and see where you were before becoming a WKC scholar, you will realize that it has really played an important life in your career, right? Important part in your career. And the training there is excellent. And also I made a lot of friends. Mast friends medlechi te Vishamgoni camp antu. We used to have a lot of activities, public speaking, debates, mock interviews. Those were all wonderful times, and we made a lot of memories together. And especially the food. Konkani food, I really like dalitai, saru, bibe curry, chanagashi. It's really amazing. It's an experience that I'm never going to forget in my life.
येस गौरव सो आमकां तुगेल तसल्या स्कॉलर सालवेरी केन्नाय मस्त अभिमान आतां तूं जस्ट एक प्रिवियस मंथान तूं 2 वर्स नंतर US आदकून मंगळूर आयलो तर 1 म्हयन तूं घरा आसल्यार समज 2 पंता तूं WKCक विजीट केला आमगेलो तो टायम स्पेंड केला तुगेला एक्सपिरियन्स आनी शेअर केला ऑल दोज थिंग्स रियली मेक अस फील ब्लेस्ड एंड रियली हैप्पी आमकां पुरा जनाके तूं आमगेला अलुमनाय जावन आसा WKC वोट कनेक्ट तूं आनी केदवन घेतला म्हळ्यार केन्ना एक अभिमान दिसता. आमी आतां कार्यक्रम एंड करचे फुडें एस्पायरींग इंजिनियर्स आमगेला व्युअर्स सांगता आशिल्लांक कसा मेसेज दिवचा इश्ट पावता.
Okay. So to all the engineers, to all the young engineers especially, who are kind of wanting to grow in their career, what I really want to say at this point is it's okay to fail. Don't take failures like really seriously. Failures are not the end of your life. As people say, failures are the stepping stones to success. And the more mistakes you commit in your early stages of your career, the more better you get in the later stages of your career, right? So don't take failures too seriously. It's okay to fail. Everyone fails. And I see a lot of young engineers, in the industry, really fearful to get inside the battlefield. It's okay to fail. Don't have that fear. This is the time to fail.
येस गौरव थँक्यू सो मच तुगेला मेसेज आका आनी आमगेलो तूं येवन ह्या कार्यक्रमान तूं तुगेला एक्सपिरियन्स शेअर करून तुगेला काणी सांगिल्लाक तुका धन्यवाद सांगता. तशीच ह्या इतले वेळू आमगेला ह्या एक्सपिरियन्स गौरवाल एक्सपिरियन्स आयकलेल्या पुरा ऑडियन्साकय धन्यवाद सांगता. मुखावेल वारान तूं अनेक अलुमनायल काणी आयकुच्याक वापस मेळया. सगळ्यांक देव बरें करूं.